Hey, this is Todd Tilghman, and I am hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
Before we jump into this whole experience, I feel like now your church is just going to be iconic. It's it's been seen all over the world. Talk to me about
sitting here right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, talk to me about first, deciding to use this space as your space for all your performances.
Well, man, that was actually a really practical decision that we made because of our kids. I joke a lot, but I do have a couple of kids that are pretty wild. And so this equipment that they sent us is like really fancy, nice equipment. And I just didn't want my kids to tear it up because our house, we have a full house, but we could have, pushed the bed over to the side or something to make it work for a few weeks. But the children, and so I just reached out to them. I'm like, listen, that we have one secretary. She comes in once a week. The other than that, the church is totally empty. And so they let me come here.
Well, since you talked about that equipment, what was it like for you, coming into this competition and then finding out you're going to learn to kind of shoot your own performances and kind of make your own sets? Like, what was that like for you?
Well, when we first found out, they were like, this is what we're going to send to you, and there'll be instructions. And they weren't lying. There were, but that just sounded way easier than when we got it. Like when we got it, I'm the type guy. Man, stuff just really did kind of keep coming through the weeks. Like by the time, like right now, as I sit here right now, post finale, we've probably got like 10 giant Pelican cases all around here that they're going to have to ship back. But when we first got it, we got a big one and a little one. And so of course I opened the big one first. Well, it's just lights. And so I'm like, oh, I can do this. And so I put the lights together, and it's so funny because my wife was like videoing, and they ended up airing me. Because I really was like, oh my God, is Blake Shelton doing this? So then I opened the little one. Oh man, it was super intimidating. It's like cords and cables and little dongles and all these little things. And like, there's like a little, at the time I didn't know it was an audio interface. It just was like a little red box, I'm like, holy crap, So I finally was just like, I don't know what in the world to do, but thank God the show, man. They got some patient people on that show that just got on Zoom with us and talked us through it.
I mean, this was definitely a new experience for everyone due to the situation. And, do you feel like at the same time, this made your experience a little bit more challenging? Do you feel like you faced more challenges while doing this?
Yeah, because honestly, man, now don't get me wrong. I don't think that it's easy. So I don't want any like the past contestants think like I'm just blowing off what they did. I'm sure that was challenging in itself. But when you're there, you get your schedule, you take a shower, you show up on time. That's what you do. And so, because I was there for blinds and for battles and knockouts, and that's what you do. I mean, and over time, I'm sure the schedule gets more challenging. But let me say though, before I get into that, I actually appreciate it. I don't know that in the beginning, I don't know that I would have wished it, but now I really appreciate it. That it was, it was a challenge, and me and my family, my oldest son and my wife especially, I'm proud of us. We rose to the occasion, man. We did the things and the practical things like equipment and lighting and all of these like cameras, and they would tell you. And they're good, man. They're really precise. So they would literally say, like, we need you to pick up that stand that camera's on and move it 3 inches. We're like, 3 inches,
Like, are you here?
Right, yeah. But then even on like a non-practical level, it was more challenging because you got to dig deep and like connect with these songs because there's no audience to pull energy from, So yeah, it was a huge challenge, but man, I feel like you may breathe, you may still be breathing, but you do die when you stop learning, I think. So it was good, all good.
I love that. Your experience. Well, actually, before that, I got to admit to you, I got to watch the screening back in like February, right before the season was going to air. And the moment you finished your performance, I opened up my phone. I was like, I'm following this guy right now on Instagram. And it's like, you just gave me, you gave me a performance that I don't feel I've kind of experienced in such a long time. And it just was it was unreal, the fact that you really don't have that much musical experience prior to this. So where does all this come from? Is this all from the church?
Yeah, man, I will say one thing that works in my favor wherever I end up singing, from singing in church my whole life, is when you sing in church, you do learn that this is not just you singing a couple of songs to get them out of the way before the preacher preaches or whatever. You really, these words mean something, and so you learn to connect with those words that you're singing, and like how, whatever it is that's going on, how joyful it might be or whatever. And so it really does translate into other things. If you're singing about the people that you love, you have spent so much time cultivating that connection, like that spiritual connection with what you're singing, and so whatever it is that you're singing, but man, honestly, God, though, with my blind audition, when the chair started turning, I don't even really know, I just lost my mind a little bit. I was so excited.
So once you got to start working with Blake, how did he kind of mentor you along the way? What kind of things stuck out to you, like as far as like ideas, or as far as like things to do with the way that you sing or the way that you think about your performances?
Well, I would say not necessarily in priority order, but one thing he did was which is brilliant, really, now that I look back. At the time I was like, I love it, I think it's cool, let's do it, But now that I look back, it was a brilliant move on his part. He pushed me in to sing the music that I love, that maybe might would have thought this isn't for me. Like I love 90s country music, but I might would have thought, I don't really have that. Cause Blake has got that like classic country voice when he sings. Like I love On Authority song, man. He's just straight up country boy. And I loved it. I thought it was so cool. But now looking back, that was brilliant because it's totally in my lane and I just didn't even know it, And so that, number one, but really just confidence, man. Like he gave me so much confidence to just go out there and sing, and that there are, well, first of all, there's 4 people sitting there, 4 coaches, but then I know that there's this one that's, when you're there in LA, down here on my far right is on my side. I know that he is for me, And so, that made probably all the difference too.
So tell me a little bit about, your performances, because you didn't fully get the live audience experience throughout this whole season. But the chances that you did, like, what was that like for you? Was it nerve-wracking at all to hit that stage and see those people there? Or did it just seem just like another performance like you did at your church?
Not both. Like, the audience didn't really, I don't think they did. I love the audience. It's especially when you're at a place like when you're at The Voice, these people are just so excited to be in The Voice audience, so you could go out there and just sound like poop and they're going to be cheering and loving it, and so the audience is fine with me, but I was very, very intimidated by like the present company, like all of these other people, like for example, like in my battle round, I mean, John Mullins sings really well, and so like that's very intimidating to go out. That made me nervous. And then in my knockout round, like Cam Spinks, not only can he sing very well, and John too, but we're friends. I'm friends with these people. And then Cam, on top of all of it, is the only full-on country fella, on Team Blake Shelton. And so that got my nerves going hardcore, But the audience, I actually love the audience.
So it was definitely more the competition to you than the actual performances.
Yeah, these people are the cream of the crop. You're on The Voice, and so you just think it's hard to think like at any moment they can kick you off, but it would still have been okay. Who gets to be on The Voice, So, but in that moment, you're scared to death.
Now, out of the songs that you got to perform, which one do you feel challenged you the most, whether it was learning the lyrics or figuring out how to kind of perform it in front of America?
For it seems a couple of them for different reasons. The battle song was really challenging because it's really a unique circumstance. You're thrown into this duet with a person that you know, but not really. I mean, you just met them not long ago, and you both sing. Me and John have different like ranges, and so we were trying to figure all those things out, and then also we felt stylistically that neither one of us really fit into like strictly into Shenandoah's version. Neither one of us fit strictly into like Alison Krauss's version. And so we had to sort of figure that out. So that was a huge challenge. But then it's really like my favorite so far, this is just me though, anyone can do whatever they want. My favorite so far was Top 9 when I did Love Me. But that was a challenge because when you're in a vocal competition, you have to show them something. And Love Me is normally just this really beautiful ballad. There's really not a whole lot of big, but me and Blake had a conversation, and then I had a conversation with Trelawney Rose, the vocal coach, and we put some big stuff in there. It worked out, I guess.
Now, last night at the press conference, Blake mentioned that he's not too fond of contestants doing their original songs, but he loved yours. Talk to me about Long Way Home, and why did you feel this was such an important song to kind of premiere here on The Voice?
Well, first of all, the way that this worked out was, and it was, man, I'm going to say first, I said this out to someone else a little earlier. The whole experience with the Songland thing, that was like one of my favorite things that has happened. Like just being on that call with Blake and Shane and Esther all at the same time. And there's like, even though you're on this screen, there's just like this like crazy energy, and that was so cool and so fun. But what they did was they said, hey, guess what? We're going to collab with Songland for the original song. So whoever makes the finale, we're going to collab with Songland. And so they reached out to me and they asked me for any original music that I had. And so I sent them some. And so then they reached back out to me again. I'm sure this is what is happening with everyone. I don't know. We're all in different places, parts of the country. So they reached back out to me and they said, okay, here's the song that you sent us that we love. And here's some songs from Songland that we thought you might like. You listen and you tell us what you prefer. And so Long Way Home was actually a Songland song that wasn't fully written. But man, I just loved it. When I listened to it, I loved the lyric. I really felt like I related to the lyric. And then also, and I don't know a lot about the music industry, so don't like take this as a lesson or anything, but like, I was like, hey, in my mind, I was thinking, hey, I love this song. I'll connect with this song. They actually finished writing the song based on our conversation that we had, the second part of the song. But then finally, I thought if I perform this song, which I love, and turned out it's doing really well, then I will have this song in my catalog as well as the other originals too. And so that's two or three instead of one, And so I was trying to be a little strategic, but it worked out, man. But Ryan Ennis, along with Esther and Shane, Ryan Ennis, who was on The Voice, I can't remember what season, he's the one who originally wrote the song.
You're just getting the full package. Like, you come in not knowing much about music, and then now it seems like you've been in the industry for so many years.
Yeah, everybody today is like, well, what is your plan? Are you going to write your own music, or are you going to try to find music? I'm like, I'm hoping to do both. Like, I don't want to be this guy that's like, I'll only sing my own songs, Like, no, I'll find whatever. If you got good music out there, I'll sing it. Dang, let's do it.
So, I mean, to kind of complete that question, what is next for you? What do you see happening in the next couple months now that, this show's over? You're obviously the winner. Blake Shelton, is still going to be in your life trying to kind of help you out, mentor you in one way or another. But what are you planning on?
Well, there's a couple of things going on right now that I hope we can see some progress in. Number one, I've already had conversations with the record label today. And so hopefully we can sort of get the wheels turning, and however that goes is how it goes. But really, I don't know how much information I'm allowed to give, but really the conversation that we had, either way this thing goes, we can make it work, I feel like. So, but then really my first step after that, I guess, which, I feel like is a smart thing to do, is I just want to take a little time and learn from all of these connections that I've made, because I need some people who know what to do to help me move forward. Because I mean, that's one thing that I've learned. I'm too old to pretend I'm smart about things that I'm not smart about, And so I'm like, if you got, man, hey, oldest living winner of The Voice, you know? And so I'm just like, I made connections with Blake Shelton, of course, but then also I've made some connections with some of the original performers of some of these songs I've done, you know, and then some other people who are in music have reached out to me because they saw me on the show. And so I'm going to glean from them. Like, what should I do in this area? How do I do this? Like, even like legally, who do I need to like contact with and like link up with? Who do you trust? You know, and that's really sort of my first step.